and it's been a gorgeous day in the glass city of Toledo, Ohio. Hello, everybody. I am Bob Dillner. Alongside of me in the booth is my good buddy, Jim Trado. And Jim, we are approaching a very critical time of the season, especially for the championship battle. 3 races in the next 8 days.
We're stacking short tracks together here to get this schedule into 20 races by the time we hit Kansas. One important thing, keep the fenders on your race car. A lot of these teams rely upon one short track car, so these 8 days are critical to keep that car ready, prepared, and hopefully not a lot of fixing going on for these teams starting today.
And there is a lot of drama building right now here as we inch towards the conclusion of the season. In fact, that drama 1 week ago in the Show Me State of Missouri, a 200-lap race there, and there was plenty of aggression.
A lot of aggression. You could count more than 6 or 7 drivers involved in multiple incidents. Point leader Michael South was involved. Ty Gibbs, Haley Deegan, Brent Holmes got spun out of the lead. Haley Deegan had spun more than once. It's crazy how that race played out. They're not done fighting today. And the championship chase, Bob, I'm telling you, it's down to 1 point because all that tussling last week in Lebanon.
One of the closest battles in terms of the ARCA Menards series in the championship chase between the 23 of Brent Holmes and the 25 of Michael Self. This is a 2-series weekend, the ARCA Menards series as well as the ARCA Menards series East.
Points count for both, and Sam Mayer comes in as the East point leader. We know he's won here in the ARCA Menards series. He's looking to double up on that overall point load.
And I mentioned 3 races in a single season. First time that's happened here at Toledo since 1976. Let's go to the third member of our broadcast team, Dave Reef, with one of our championship contenders.
Well, the one thing, guys, we know about Brent Holmes Racing in the year 2020 is they like where their short track program is. And, Brett, as we get set for Toledo number 3 on the road down to places like Bristol and Winchester and those kinds of places, how confident are you in keeping this short track thing going in the right direction?
Yeah, I feel really good about where we're at right now, Dave. After Lebanon last weekend, qualified on the pole and led a lot of laps and had a car to win the race. So I feel really good about where our team has progressed and in the short track stuff. That's what I talked about earlier in the year. So I feel like that's where we lacked a little bit, and I feel like we've improved on that, and that's all you can ask for in a team. And just really proud of my guys for doing that, and looking forward to these next few stretch of races. We've got 4 or 5 short tracks coming up here, so that's a good feeling.
Knowing, though, that you guys don't necessarily focus on the picture, how much do you at least think about that big picture in the points?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, keeping our nose clean is the biggest thing. Not getting into any trouble on the track, and I think as long as we do that, we've been really consistent throughout the year, and top 3, top 5, and that's all you can ask for when you're looking at the bigger picture and a championship in mind.
And guys, after this barrage of short tracks, there is the one dirt track. He's got a dirt background, and then there's this place called Kansas where you got that first win.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to them.
To all these races as well. Here's a look at the ARCA Menards Series national point standings. We mentioned that point between Michael Self and Brent Holmes. They have basically matched each other this year.
And our leading bounty rookies, Haley Deegan and Drew Dollar, they're just 4 points apart in the overall standings. So these are the top 4 in points, chasing another victory. It's a huge bonus to win 3 points. That sounds like a ton right about now in this part of the season.
Toledo Speedway is always a lot of fun because this racetrack ultra competitive, located, as we mentioned, in the glass city of Toledo, Ohio. This is the home of ARCA. You see 12 degrees of banking in the corners, and this place, you could run 2 and 3 wide here.
And it's a circle if you want to get to it. If you want to get to the middle of the backstretch, that's when you start turning into turn 3. The front stretch has a bit of a rise off of turn 4, so both ends act a bit differently coming off the corner.
Sometimes it's egg-shaped, and I tell you what, you're always turning here at Toledo Speedway. This one is going to be a lot of fun today. Let's kick things off a very special way here at Toledo Speedway. Right now, it's time for the most famous words in racing.
On behalf of our friends Ken and Carl Bumgardner at Royal Truck and Trailer, they are celebrating 50 years of business. Longtime supporters of ARCA-sanctioned short track racing here at Toledo and Flat Rock Speedways. They can't be here tonight, so they have asked me to ask you to help me get things started here tonight. So on the count of 3, 2, 1, drivers, start your engines!
Good to see fans, a limited capacity crowd at Toledo Speedway. We got the big guns here today. A good starting lineup for 200 laps at Toledo Speedway. Gibbs, Mayer, Deegan, Self, Holmes, and a whole lot more will be battling it out here today on this half mile in the Buckeye State of Ohio. Ty Gibbs, can he do it again? He won the East race here earlier in the year. Today at Toledo for the ARCA Menards series, we had practice and then qualifying leading up to the race. And Sam Mayer, who has won 3 of the last 4 races on the short tracks in the ARCA Menards series, got the General Tire Pole Award.
In this same race car, Bob, he is the driver that's been talked about in the garage all day today. Mayer picking up that prestigious award, and it goes to the year-end total. Whoever has the most picks up like 10 grand at the season end.
Here's the General Tire starting grid for today's 200-lap race. Chandler Smith, who won here a couple of years ago on the outside of the front row. Haley Deegan lining up third, had another good qualifying effort with Ty Gibbs, who won the East race here earlier in the year, in 4th.
Brent Holmes ran that race and finished 3rd behind Mayer and Ty Gibbs, so there's a lot of interwoven action here. This is the 4th time for those 3 drivers to race here this year.
Drew Dollar, who sits 2nd in the Bounty Rookie Challenge for the top rookie in ARCA this year, will start 10th overall.
Yeah, a couple of 25s in the field. We saw Mason Diaz. He's racing in the East Series full-time for the Venturini Motorsports team. This is a great look at Taylor Gray. He is also racing full-time in the East and our Sioux Chief Showdown races, and great to see him here in another short track that fits into his schedule.
He is carrying our Bounty camera today, and Sam Mayer, who won on a doubleheader weekend about a month ago here at Toledo Speedway, he will carry the General Tire camera for today's racing action. Mayer and Chandler Smith on the front row for this one. It's going to be a party today in Toledo for the ARCA Menards series. That speed shot is rocking on the front stretch. Rocking right now is the JBL number 20 of Chandler Smith, looking to the inside of early race leader Sam Mayer.
The first time Chandler Smith came to this racetrack in 2018, he impressed all by winning the pole, leading a ton of laps, and finishing 4th. This is the same Chandler Smith that we're seeing here, battling early for Sam Mayer. Mayer left the door open on a little bit of a wide exit a half a lap ago, and this is the result. Chandler Smith getting that advantage and a bottom groove run here off of turn 4 to take the lead.
To the front goes the 20, Chandler Smith. He's been frustrated as of late in the last 4 races, 2 runner-up positions. Last week at Lebanon, Missouri, he wants to forget about that show. He had a miserable time there with problems with that race car. Now back to the front. Haley Deegan on the other end of the spectrum ran really well at Lebanon. She led the first laps of her career in ARCA, 85 overall, and had another top 5 run. She's running 3rd here in the number 4.
And that confidence continues to build, Bob. Those laps she led in the mid-portion of that race really helped her boost her confidence. Yeah, she had some run-ins at that short track, but in reality, she had a very fast car. She belonged up front all race long, and if she's able to maintain pace here with Sam Mayer, this builds her confidence and that DJ Crosley team, because they know if they have a confident driver, she's not afraid to put that nose in there to get the spot if she has to.
Everybody's sorting things out, feeling their race car. Just 7 laps into this 200-lap affair. So, Jim, what does everybody need to concentrate on today?
If you haven't seen turns 3 and 4 just yet, you need to keep clean. Turn 3 can be the trouble spot going up the racetrack if there's contact. Right there, the driver's left front tires, they don't want to dip those left front tires into the grass because that could cause huge issues. There's no apron down there. You can dance about 3, 4, 5 inches of tread width, but that's it. You get deeper than that, you're in the grass, and that'll end your day. Also, off of turn 4, yes, restarts are critical everywhere, but here you're coming up a hill. You need to keep a great run off of turn 4 and gas it to stay with the leaders. Don't miss any shifts. That's going to be a huge component all race long.
Haley Deegan, very strong so far, but so is Sam Mayer. Mayer in that 21, and another Monster Energy car that sits right behind Haley Deegan, that 18 of Ty Gibbs. In 3 races prior to this one this year, they've got toe-to-toe for the victory in each of them, 2 of them in the ARCA Menards series, and in June in the East series.
Yeah, it's crazy how much Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs race together, whether it be the ARCA Menards series or the East series, or heck, even when they're running Trans Am for Mike Cope's team. They got to get it going on because they, at times, get heated. We saw it here at Toledo Speedway. We ran 2 races in 3 days back at the end of July. those drivers were the two fighting out for the victories. They led over 100 laps each in those two 200-lap races.
Brent Holmes resides back in 5th. Michael Self, the point leader, in 7th. There is Sam Mayer, red hot right now. He hasn't finished outside the top 4 in the last 9 races in the ARCA Menards series. You see how good he's been, winning 3 of those last 4 short track races.
Toledo Speedway held the E-Series for the first time this year on their schedule back on June 13th. Sam's race car was really good that day. Ty Gibbs won that race, but Sam said to me this morning, we came back with the same setup we had here in June. Not the doubleheader I won. He said the conditions right now feel a lot like they were back in mid-June, so that's what they came back with the race car. And yeah, this is the car that won both of those Toledo races too, the ARCA Menards series at the end of July.
Haley Deegan in the 4, just behind Mayer, seems to be just riding right now. And she's starting to learn a lot of that patience that she needs. She was very aggressive by nature last week in Missouri, but I think that was a confidence builder because she had finished outside the top 5 in 7 prior races to that. Finally back in the top 5, and we heard that confidence exuding from that race car during practice today.
She's got a lot of strong runs, not the best finishes to prove it, just 3 top 5 finishes on the season. But consistency, top 12 run. She finished 6th for 3 consecutive races. She is now cracking into that top 5. So in her list of things to do, progress and learn throughout the season, she's now running for top 5s and top 3s and now race victories in a very short order the second half of the season.
Nobody has led more laps in 2020 than the driver that sits right behind Haley Deegan. That's the 18 of Ty Gibbs. He came so close to victory in the 2 ARCA Menards series events that were on back-to-back days here during the Toledo weekend just over a month ago. And Dave, right now, Ty Gibbs just holding steady in the top 5.
Coming off of a qualifying effort that he frankly wasn't that happy with. Talked to Mark McFarland about it. He said the trouble there, he's right where he's at right now, turns 3 and 4. Didn't know if he was overdriving it or not, but again, with race brakes at 75 and 150, they're going to definitely work on this race car. Gibbs has led a lot of laps this year to see him qualify outside of row number 2. That's a little bit off for that 18 team from where they've been most of the season.
A little bit off, but it's a long race. We heard him having some difficulty, felt something loose on that race car during practice. Hopefully they got that fixed for this 200-lap grueling race. There is Brent Holmes, 1 point out of a championship hunt here. He's right behind Michael Self in the standings. And remember, we got to remind everybody, he did not plan to run the entire season when 2020 began.
His worst finish of the year came at Phoenix, the second race of the season, and that was really almost a throwaway. They had some issues. They pulled off the racetrack with a healthy race car. They could have gone back out on the track and didn't. He's actually regretting that moment now, but as the season wore on, his confidence in Shane Huffman and those team members back in Mooresville has grown to the point where, like, we got to go for this. This is our chance. We're not going to do anything else but focus on this. We mentioned how to keep your race car together. This is the short track car they debuted here at Toledo back on June 13th and said, wow, we got something. That really helped turn their attention towards, let's make it a full season run because of the success they've had for this family-owned team, self-supported team for Brent Holmes in that Chevrolet.
I'm really impressed with the Bounty onboard camera driver right now, Taylor Gray. Taylor has been so impressive in just a limited number of starts, 7 total starts, and in those starts he has 5 top 5 runs. He has been a guy that is knocking on the door for that first ARCA win.
And he and his teammate Haley Deegan this past Wednesday spent the entire day at Orange County Speedway in Rougemont, North Carolina because of the short track run we're going to get here. Bob, you've had some laps there. Is it able to be comparative to this, knowing that they've had some races at Toledo, but that fresh turn to try something for a full day?
Mine was in a street stock. Doesn't compare to an ARCA stock car, but at the same time, the banking a little bit similar. Definitely high-banked racetracks, both Toledo and Orange County Speedway. So if you had to go someplace in North Carolina, that would be certainly the place to go to test for Toledo Speedway. Right now, Chandler Smith, you can tell how hungry he is to get back to victory lane. 2 wins already this year for Chandler Smith, but he's been frustrated as of late. It's been a roller coaster year for Chandler Smith. That big win at Phoenix, and then he followed it up at Lucas Oil Raceway with another victory. Does he get a 3rd win of the season here today?
The ARCA Menards series is brought to you by General Tire, anywhere is possible. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And by Menards, save big money at Menards.
35 laps into this one for the ARCA Menards Series today at Toledo Speedway in Ohio. The third time the National Series is competing. Chandler Smith continues to set the pace, but now he's got Sam Mayer in the 21 right on his back bumper.
Passing Justin Carroll, an ARCA Menards Series East driver. Bob Pawlowski's well in that blue and white number 11, as we have a couple of duplicate numbers here today. This is a great run. Sam is hounding Chandler Smith. Chandler's not able to pace himself. He's not able to let off the corner easy and keep those General tires a bit cooler. Now, Sam's pushing the issue right here off of turn 2. This is the setup point. It may not happen this lap. Well, there he goes. To the bottom of turn 3, Bob. I thought he'd wait a lap.
Sam Mayer to the front at Toledo, getting by the 20 of Chandler Smith. Here's another battle brewing just behind that between a pair of Monster Energy machines, the number 4 of Hailie Deegan and the 18 of Ty Gibbs. That's a battle for third. Ty Gibbs, very strong once again here at Toledo, Dave.
But listening to the racing electronics scanner, maybe a bit of a vibration that Ty Gibbs says was eerily similar, at least earlier here a few laps ago, to another time in which that team lost a motor. So pay attention to that 18 running a little bit on the ragged edge right now.
And Jim, we were listening to his radio during practice, and he basically said that something was strange during practice for that number 18.
Yeah, he said that felt the left front tire was up in the air. It almost like it wasn't planted in the racetrack. So they worked a lot in the right rear corner to get that left front down and get him comfortable. I heard them work on it throughout practice, throwing spring rubbers at it, shock changes. I don't know if he was completely comfortable the way he qualified and now is racing his way through here. You'd expect him to advance forward as fast as he's been in all of 2020.
I thought that might have been a side slap there between the 18 and the 4, but looks like no damage. That was really close coming down the front stretch and into turn number 1, but moved the 18 of Gibbs now into third. Deegan back to 4th with Brent Holmes still residing in that top 5.
There's still some heat under the collar for these young drivers. Hailie Deegan and Ty Gibbs involved in multiple incidents last race at Lebanon I-44 Speedway. Hailie said, "I apologized to some drivers," and only some said they apologized back. Ty Gibbs made no apologies for what happened in the last lap. He and Hailie got together racing for 4th, and Ty came limping across the line with a left front tire flat, and Hailie spun and still continued on to finish 5th.
Well, let's think about this. Nobody was really mad at Sam Mayer, who leads here, but we know that Brent Holmes was mad at Hailie Deegan, and then you had Chandler Smith, who was mad at Brent Holmes, and the list just went on and on. Riding on board with Sam Mayer with our General Tire camera, let's listen to him as he goes around this racetrack to feel how you have to have an egg underneath that throttle pedal. You see how long he's off the throttle right there to let that car roll in the center of the corner.
And working through those cars on the inside, he really has to be careful in turns 1 and 2. There's not a lot of width to the groove in turn 1. So as he went in that corner, he made sure he didn't get up in any loose stuff, because if you snap the gas pedal too quick right there, you're in the foam barriers in no time.
Chase Cabring in the number 4. Battling within the top 10. He's running 10th right now, trying to get by the 9th place driver, Parker Ratzloff, in that number 42. This is the Geico Race 411. 200 laps. The key thing is the 2 race breaks around lap 75 and 150. But this place has been holding ARCA races forever. The 80th race in series history comes today, the first one dating back to 1963.
And these 2 drivers have raced 3 races thus far in the full-time schedule for the ARCA Menards Series East, and they are actually 1 point different in the point standings. The number 4 of Chase Cabring ahead of his combatant in that black 42, Wisconsin's Ratzloff, and the Ponce Chevrolet for Bruce Cook and Sean Samuels. So they're racing for a lot here. They know they have a certain amount of races. They waited long enough to get their schedule filled out. It's just been announced this week where they're racing for the remainder of their schedule. So this is a race for sincere integrity, and 3rd in the point standings, heading off to the next event after the East Series races at Bristol. Actually is another combination event with the ARCA Menards Series this coming Thursday.
Parker Ratzloff is from the Wisconsin area, has run some Midwest Truck Series events, some late model events, but a lot of people know him from iRacing. He's the 7th ranked iRacer in the world right now, and he just won a bunch of races during this pandemic when a lot of people turned to iRacing. But Ratzloff, that's how he really got his start in trying to figure out how to drive these race cars. It's from iRacing.
And he's trying to get a lot more seat time. He was back in Wisconsin 2 weeks ago racing at Golden Sands Speedway in Wisconsin Rapids, home of Dick Trickle, who is a 4-time track champion there at Golden Sands Speedway. So Parker really trying to do as much as he can to get the seat time, and not knowing how many East races they can put together. Bruce Cook and that team have worked with Kyle Sieg on certain races. They had a 2-car effort at Dover. So to see Parker excel amongst this class for the very first time, in his very first technically ARCA Menards Series race, I'd say it's holding his own, sitting in 10th right now.
Nobody as good as that 21 of Sam Mayer. He continues to lead just past the lap 50 marker here in Toledo. Always love coming to the Midwest, where you can find a Menards store in just about every town. They have everything you need to have for your home, and that's right across the street here from Toledo Speedway with the ARCA Menards Series, Toledo ARCA 200.
Was that about a 3-wood for you, Bob, from the parking lot to the front door at Menards?
Probably, maybe a driver. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been on the links. Anyway, under caution here for the first time in this one. Chase Cabry, third in the ARCA Menards Series East point standings. Hit the wall pretty hard down in the corner. Let's take a look at what happened to the driver of the number 4. That happened down in turn number 1. Here's a look at the Auto Park It replay.
Racing Parker Ratzloff going to turn number 1, just ahead of these 2 cars. You see him on the brakes, up the hill. That tells me one of the front tires might have gone down there, Bob. He had nothing to do. He went in the corner. The car wanted to go straight, got on the brakes to try to woe it down. I'm actually thankful those barriers are there, because that would have been a really hard hit. This team perhaps can get that car back on the track, because he went through the foam and did not get to the concrete, it looked like.
And the styrofoam blocks that you see there were the precursor to the safer walls that we see a lot in NASCAR right now. And they serve the same purpose. The reason why a lot of people or the industry went to the safer barriers, a lot less cleanup. But they are effective as well in absorbing energy before that car contacts the wall.
This is also a more cost-effective way to go about it. Safer barriers cost a lot of money, and these short tracks, they want to keep going. They want to keep the drivers safe. Oswego Speedway did it as well many years ago for the modifieds racing there. I think it's a great step to keep the cars away from the concrete wall.
The old Flemington Speedway in New Jersey also had those big styrofoam blocks. So while we clean this one up, we're going to take a quick break. Sam Mayer leading the field over, guess who? Ty Gibbs. The rivalry continues today here in Toledo, Ohio. There is Marty Lindley, looking on to see if his driver can pick up another victory at Toledo. Back to green in Toledo, Ohio. Through the gears goes the 21 of Sam Mayer, and back to the front. And on the inside, in a battle for second, Chandler Smith poking his nose to the inside of Ty Gibbs.
Talking about seat time, Sam Mayer and Chandler Smith both raced in the NASCAR Gander Truck Series race at Richmond 2 nights ago. They are on these restarts. They know how aggressive they can get on restarts, and Sam did another great job there, as he did at I-44 Speedway in this series 1 week ago, to grab the lead. He never gave up in those last 45 laps. Great jump by Sam Mayer. Great jump as well by Chandler Smith, who ran to the inside of Ty Gibbs for position momentarily as well.
On board with the bounty camera for Taylor Gray, right on the back bumper of the point leader, Michael Self. Self now running in 6th, Brent Holmes in 4th.
Taylor Gray, at just 15 years of age, was spun by contact from his teammate, but in reality, Michael Self was aggressive on a restart, or excuse me, the opening laps of the race when we were here back in July. It spun Taylor up the hill. This is great to see Taylor taking advantage of learning from Michael Self rather than giving him a bump and run. We don't see that often in young drivers. They're too impatient. Hey, I got to pay back in my mind. I've got to pay it back now. No, Taylor Gray has it in mind where he wants to run and learn from Michael Self here at Toledo Speedway and get a really solid finish. Keep in mind, this is a points race for Taylor in the East Series, because that young man is going for the full East Championship after missing 1 race due to age restrictions.
Points on the mind for everybody, whether you're in the ARCA Menards Series East or the National Tour for the ARCA Menards Series. Michael Self in that Sinclair number 25, the point leader by a single marker over Brent Holmes. And right now, here is their driver comparison in terms of short track starts. Last week, Brent Holmes bettered Michael Self, who had a miserable run.
Just caught a glimpse there of the car behind them. Parker Ratzloff doing a bump and run to gain the 8th position off of Nick Sanchez. And this is how Parker Ratzloff's going to join the matter. This is where spotters come into play as well. Even on a short track, Bob, it could have been Michael Self's spotter, Brent Anderson, talking to the number 17 spotter, saying, hey guys, let's take this easy. If you want the spot, let me know. We can work it up here to let you know if you want it that bad. We may just do gentleman's agreement to let you by. Right now, Taylor's running very close to the back bumper. Oh, there he goes. Maybe his patience is running out after all.
And Michael Self is going to give him the inside lane after that little tap down in the corner. Taylor Gray now moves up to 6th. But Michael Self being threatened right now for Parker Ratzloff. Ratzloff, a newcomer to the stock car ranks, and right now battling in his first event at Toledo Speedway here with the ARCA Menards series.
Don't count on Nick Sanchez, that young driver in his first year racing for Rev Racing. And the UTI number 6 to the inside of Ratzloff. So as Ratzloff tried to mount a challenge, down, dipped into the grass, goes the 6 of Sanchez.
Oh, man, little contact down in the corner. Sanchez very strong on the inside. This is a racetrack where you have to take the opportunity when it presents itself, and it did there for the 6 of Nick Sanchez.
Nick prides himself on not forcing the issue with the bumper. He forces it by making you make a mistake. He'll study you and then find a way. Right there, he saw an opening. It didn't quite work. We didn't see him bump and grind all the way down the side of that 42. Nick Sanchez settles back in here, but if he sees an opening, however slim it is, he's going to go for it.
But right now, we're right at where we expect to see that race break at or around lap 75. So we're expecting that caution to come out momentarily. Man, Mason Diaz was all sorts of sideways coming off the corner.
And this battle really is important because inside and outside line restart choice is based upon how we come across the line this time as the caution flies. We'll line them right back up as how they come across the line here.
So caution is out for the first race break. We will have 2, one right now, one at or around lap 150. Sam Mayer picking up where he left off here about a month and a half ago at Toledo Speedway. He was looking for his first career victory, and it came at Toledo Speedway back-to-back. And then he won in Lebanon, Missouri last week with a bold move to the lead on a late race restart. 3 of the last 4 on short tracks for Sam Mayer. First race break for the ARCA Menards series at Toledo today comes at lap 77. There you see the 17 car of Taylor Gray. Gray, his family kind of grew up as straight liners. His brother Tanner, a pro stock champion in the NHRA circuits, but he has been grooming himself in the circle track realm for the past couple of years. A winner in the Car Store late model stock car circuit, and he is the focus of our Bounty Rookie Spotlight. Taylor Gray, listen to these stats. 7 starts, 6 top 10, 5 of them top 5 finishes. His best finish actually came last week in Lebanon, Missouri, and then also here in the first race at Toledo just a couple of months ago.
And he gets disappointed when he doesn't finish top 5. In those very few chances on the road course, we saw him race, and he thought, man, I had a chance to win that thing. So his confidence is there, but he said, I have to limit my expectations. I want to win bad, but I'm learning as I go here. I've never been in these cars for a full season.
And he's poised beyond his years, even outside of the car. In several interviews with Dave Reef this year, Dave has been very surprised at how calm, cool, and collected he is. Even though he's close, he doesn't get over emotional about getting that close and coming up short.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of knowledge when it comes to what he wants in that race car, too, which is a really big deal for a 15-year-old.
We'll be going green on the other side of the break here in Toledo. Bright sunny skies overhead of Toledo Speedway in Ohio. That's a good sign because we struggled with weather the last time we were here a couple of months ago. Sam Mayer dominating this one so far, the leader, 78 laps into this one. Ty Gibbs running in second. Let's get an update on that 18 with Dave Reef.
Well, guys, Ty Gibbs has no problems with his race car. In fact, they made very few changes as far as the handling of this car. But we're listening to the racing electronic scanner. There might be an issue. He calls it a vibration. Being able to dissect it at all?
Really, we checked everything over that we could check, and you know, the balance is pretty good, he feels like. So we're just going to ride it out until something happens. We checked wheel bearings, we checked hubs, we checked everything. So we'll see.
He said it was very similar to another time when you did lose an engine. When would that have been?
Yeah, we had a similar issue with the engine earlier this year, so we'll see.
Monster team keeping their fingers crossed because right now he has got a race car he likes very, very well. Just that vibration.
Yeah, that was at Lucas Oil Raceway. Also heard Ty on his radio during the prior caution talking about the car didn't come to full speed from turn 2 to the middle of the backstretch.
We mentioned in the 3 ARCA-style races here this year, between the 2 National Series and the E-Series, these guys have gone toe-to-toe. And remember, late in the race, in the last race here, it was the 21 and the 18, and there was certainly a lot of talk about whether there was contact or not. These guys both like Toledo Speedway, but they're hungry for victory today. Sam Mayer, man, Dave, Sam Mayer looking pretty good.
His race car definitely likes his car. Talked to Marty Lindley. I said, you fell off in the middle of that first run. He says, well, you got to know what you got, and you got to save a little bit for the end. I'm not suggesting that the 21 team playing rope-a-dope, but they definitely like what's going on with that 21 car heading into the second part.
I like that rope-a-dope comment right there. There is a 21 of Sam Mayer. Chandler Smith right behind him on that inside line. Green flag, back out. The Bounty onboard camera for rookie Taylor Gray to the outside of fellow rookie Haley Deegan. Deegan leads the Bounty Rookie Challenge coming into Toledo.
By a scant 7 points over Drew Dollar, who races now back in the 9th position.
Side by side for 2nd, side by side for 5th. There's Chandler Smith. He gets back by the 18 of Ty Gibbs. That inside line really moved for the 20 of Chandler Smith.
And you saw how he's able to get more grip way down on the bottom of the left side tires, dancing off the edge of the asphalt surface. That'll get you more bite, and as they call it, wrap the bottom. That helped out Chandler huge to get clear by the front stretch.
Hey, same story as the last restart. Michael Self able to work his way by Taylor Gray, who carries that Bounty onboard camera. But after a while, it seems like Michael Self's car went away in the first stage of this race. I know that team went to work on that race car to make it a little bit better for the point leader.
Michael Self's crew chief Kevin Reed won the championship last year with Christian Eckes. That team is now working with Michael Self and trying to win Michael's first championship in the ARCA Menards series. And they talked about putting those 2 tires on. They did the 2-tire change. They really want to see 50 laps into this run what this car feels like, because they have 4 fresh General tires awaiting the next race break at around lap 150, 50 from the end of this one.
What's the 25 saying, Dave Reef?
Well, very late in that run, Michael Self got on the radio talking to Kevin Reed, just not liking the overall balance of the race car. They decided to make a spring change during that to the right rear.
Reef, I'm sorry, man.
We got Drew Dollar up in the wall.
Wow, Drew Dollar hard into the styrofoam blocks up in between turns 3 and 4. 2nd in the Bounty Rookie Challenge coming into this race. He has had a tough time on short tracks this year, and this continues for Drew Dollar in the 15.
Foam block or not, Bob, we heard that here in the booth. I felt that hit as the car went hauling off up into that turn 3 wall. The foam barriers are there to protect the cars. He went right past the foam barrier into the concrete. There's a lot of damage underneath this 5-star composite body.
We're being told that there might have been contact between that 15 of Drew Dollar and Parker Ratzloff. Let's take a look at it in the Auto Park It replay down into turn 3 at the bottom of your screen. Keep an eye on that. And you see those 2 were running right near each other. We did have a report that there was some contact from the 42 of Parker Ratzloff and the 15 of Drew Dollar.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of cars spinning by themselves there. Let's leave it at that for the moment, because way before the corners when he was already swapping ends going towards the fence. Lots of damage there.
Bad break for the driver that came in 4th in the overall series point standings here at Toledo. Drew Dollar has struggled a little bit as of late. He had that big win at Talladega, but after that win, he has struggled just a tad, and right now that continues here at Toledo. So Drew Dollar hoping to turn things around at some point this year. It's been 3 races, looks like it's going to be 4 since his last top 5 finish. Back under caution quickly after the first race break in this one. Under caution for the 3rd time for the ARCA Menards series in this 200-lap race, and it involves the Sunbelt Rentals number 15, that Venturini Motorsports car for Drew Dollar, one of the competitors for the Bounty Rookie Challenge this year in ARCA. Hit the wall hard up in the corner. Let's get a report with Dave Reef.
Well, as you guys know, this was a team that was in the right place at the right time at Talladega earlier this year when Michael self-spun in front. Drew Dollar taking advantage of that to get the win. He says, here we go. This is the kind of momentum we need. But since then, it seems like it's been a struggle. This is not the short track car that they raced last week in Lebanon. And Drew told me right before they started, this was a car they were just simply getting better through practice and then through qualifying. And that all changed here. Track bar shoved so completely forward in that car, dripping oil out the rear end. Shannon Rush, the crew chief, is very, very frustrated with this, but it looks like it's going to be the end of the day for the 15.
Yeah, that car has significant damage for Drew Dollar, and that will hurt him in the contest for the top rookie this year in ARCA. Let's take a look at how things have played out so far in the first 91 laps of this race for the ARCA Menards series at Toledo Speedway. Before we get to that, we'll keep an eye on what's going on here and whether or not they are going to be able to fix the 15. They got the jack stands out. If he's able to get on the racetrack, depending on what happens in attrition, it would be good to be able to get some laps, but that car just may be too much damage on the rear end.
Yeah, that team actually had an engine issue. They thought he thought at Iowa Speedway they blew the motor. They towed it back in the garage. He ended up running that race and finishing 2 spots ahead of where he would have finished. So those 2 points, that means everything. 1 point per position all season long. The bonus points are awarded for leading a lap, leading the most laps, winning the general tire pole, and you get 3 additional points for winning the race. That's it. So in terms of positions on the track, for him to make up those 2 spots, that means everything in the rundown. So I think they're going to work at it. Maybe they have to go behind the wall momentarily, but they're going to do everything they can to get that car ready and back on the racetrack.
We normally see 3 Venturini Motorsports cars at all the ARCA Menards series events. Here is a 4th today, the Craftsman number 25E, and that's how they designate this, that this is an E-Series competitor. Mason Diaz, 7th overall in the E-Series standings, coming off a great run just a few weeks back at Dover, a podium finish.
Yeah, Mason said he was in the right place, right time, had about a 6th place car there, but the thing he loves is he gets to work with Kevin Reed. When we're not racing the ARCA Menards series, Mason Diaz and Kevin Reed work together on the East series. Shannon Rush, also a full-time crew chief for a 2nd entry in the Venturini Motorsports, adding to their schedule. They were going to be up to 30, 32 races this year, all told, throwing in a couple of West races. So for Mason to do that well at Dover, he said, I felt confident there, but I feel my team needs to step it up. We need to get a little bit better. Need to get a little bit further on to where we feel we can contend with Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer, who've been so good this year in the ARCA Menards Series East in 3 races.
Look at this. Here's the point standings coming into this race, the 4th race of the year for the ARCA Menards Series East. Mayer leading this one by 13 points over Ty Gibbs. Chase Cabry hit the wall early. That's going to hurt him. He was only a point ahead of Parker Ratzloff, and Ratzloff right now running in the top 10.
Talking about that red number 25 of Mason Diaz, we see he sits 7th in points. He lost a ton of points at Dover because the rear end gear actually exploded 29 laps into the race at the high banks in Delaware, so that cost him a bunch of points.
Justin Carroll from Virginia also in this race. Carroll running back in the 11th spot. Speaking of the East Series, right now Dave Reef standing by with a guy that was up there in the top 5 in the standings.
Well, and Chase Cabry hoping to have a good run here at Toledo, but it just didn't work out. You were the first caution of the day. What got you up into the turn 1 foam blocks there?
Yeah, we didn't fire off really well at the start of the race, and we started to get some speed. And I was coming back through the field. I think I was back up to like 8th or so. It started to kind of plug away at some other cars, and I just let a right front go getting down in the corner. So kind of you're at the mercy of the tires at that point, and hopefully it didn't hurt the car too bad and we can get back going for Bristol, but just kind of unfortunate. I thought I had a good piece there for the long run.
Definitely hurts though, an East Points race, a double one at that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're 3rd in points right now, so as far as the points are concerned, it's going to be a setback, but we got a couple races left. We'll be able to try to plug back away back at it.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
Bad break for Cabry here today at Toledo Speedway. Here's the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. 2 leaders so far in this one, Sam Mayer and Chandler Smith. 3 cautions so far, and we're expecting that 2nd race break at or around lap 150. Got a war for 2nd. Chandler Smith trying to get it back. Ty Gibbs doesn't want to give it up.
The driver we talked to in that white and blue, number 23, Brent Holmes, had a great restart to get to the inside run. He's all by himself watching this great bet out in front of his windshield. Chandler Smith able to wrestle it away here.
Holmes thought about going to the inside of the 18, couldn't get there with the 23. Taylor Gray slides up into 5th by Haley Deegan in that 17, so he puts that Ford up into the top 5.
We just saw Taylor Gray get in the grass slightly, and that tail really got happy on the exit in that blue and white Ford Performance Ford, number 17, as we ride along with him. He's putting everything forward here. The first 5 or 6 laps on these new General tires are the best these tires will feel for these drivers all day long.
That bounty camera of the top 4, you see the gap that Sam Mayer has been able to put on Chandler Smith. About 0.7 of a second, the difference between first and second.
And Sam Mayer loves the fact that he's seen the pace car as the only car ahead of him on the last 2 restarts in this race. And his start from the inside again, spot on. So Sam Mayer taking heed, and Marty Lindley is always reminded about what he needs to do on these restarts. And spotter Lauren Renier have really done well in getting this driver in tune to win another race here.
40 to go. Is it go time now, or do you wait for about that 25 to go mark?
Based upon last race, it's go time right now. I would say if I'm Michael Self, I need to get every spot I can now because my tires will equal out. This team, I listened to them on my Racing Electronics radio before they got to the jack stands and put 4 tires on. They were still debating what changes they wanted to make, so it's really a discussion that continues between championship crew chief Kevin Reed and Michael Self, the driver.
Self moves up a spot. He's now in 9th, but Brent Holmes was a point back coming into this one. And remember, neither of those drivers won the pole, nor did they lead a lap yet so far in today's race. So it'll be straight up points. Sam Mayer, just listen to how good he is around this racetrack, just dominating this one at Toledo. Came up quick on the 11E of Pawlowski and got around him, but Mayer very strong, but look at who's there, Chandler Smith, and there is no driver hungrier in this field to get back to victory lane than Chandler Smith.
And Chandler's got a lot of Gander Trucks races left on his schedule, only 2 more ARCA Menards Series races this season. He's fighting for everything. He wants to get Billy Venturini another victory here before he advances on. And Michael Self, look at him. He's now working his way underneath that lap car. Kowalski now on the outside in turn 3.
Little contact there between the slower car of Pawlowski and the 25 of Michael Self.
Just what Michael Self didn't need is a close call, the lapper there.
Here's the thing that you got to remember about Michael Self. He's been very good early on in a run, after the initial start, after the first race break, and then he fades off. So this is traditionally, in this race, the best that we've seen, that number 25 machine.
Good enough for 8th right now on the racetrack. They're not happy with that. They're still trying to fight through it. Michael really has no other chances to come to pit road. If they do, it'll be a big swing. But as we know in the past history, Toledo Speedway can be really hard to pass on. You can't throw no tires at it. There's no strategy there that they can play out of their cards. So they really have their deck right there. Their hand is out in front of them. All 5 cards are face up with what they have. Michael's got to fight his way for position now for the finish.
Have you noticed a little smoke coming from the 21 at times?
Yeah, it's out of the right rear. I saw it early on in the race. I see it again, maybe mid-corner, and right in the car sets. There might be a small rub. You see the left side rear tire there, right above the fender well. It says Lynn Family Foundation for the LA Chargers head coach. His foundation helps a bunch of people. Great to know that Sam's supporting him there, but that rub is on the right side. But we see rubber buildup on the top of the left rear fender well as well. So that rear end's doing some moving in the back there.
And it looks like that rub or whatever it is to cause that smoke is on entrance to the corner where that suspension settles down and gets hard into this pavement. And I'm sure Chandler Smith is saying, maybe something going on with the 21. I see that smoke and makes him even hungrier.
And he's losing a little bit more time. Half a second now, Sam Mayer's big bulge. It's big because in the last 10 laps, he had a hood that said JBL on his rearview mirror. Now I can see the nose of that Camry behind him, that car number 20.
Behind the number 20 machine is Ty Gibbs. Now approaching 25 laps to go in this one. And Chandler Smith's got a little bit of a gap until that 18. Gibbs won the East Series race back in June here when we went racing during this pandemic. No crowd during that race. Nice to see a limited capacity crowd here today. And Ty Gibbs hoping to pick up another victory, but I just don't think that 18 is as good as the 20 and the 21 today. In fact, he has struggled off at turn number 4 all day long. Brent Holmes probably happy right now to be running in 4th, being that he noted how good the top 3 are.
Yeah, he told us how good they were, and really on the restart, he just settled in behind those top 3, and he's been able to click off laps in 4th, gain some comfort here. Taylor Gray sitting in 5th, not in frame now, so he's got a bit of a bulge there to that 15-year-old driver. Brent Holmes at Auburn University. 5th-year senior, going after a big degree. A lot on his plate. Full-time student, racing here for a championship. Racing in a top 5 finish. I'd say he's not going to push it. I'm going to say he's going to finish 4th and say that was a good day because those guys really had some speed.
I think you're right. He knows, I'm sure, with Shane Huffman or his spotter telling him right now that Michael Self is still running in 8th, so he could come out of here the point leader. Taylor Gray running in 5th. The focus of our Bounty Rookie Spotlight today, a fellow rookie, Haley Deegan, right behind him in the Monster Energy number 4.
Taylor Gray in practice talked about security in the center. He wanted to know that car was right where he wanted it when he got back on the gas. He has yet to find that. He was talking about it in the race breaks as well with his team. We're talking about the number 17 with Blake Bainbridge, his crew chief. Trying to make it work. And Haley Deegan actually worked with DJR Crosley 1 year ago for a single race before she came on full-time. Great staff there. A lot of energy towards this. She came on full-time at DJR Crosley. That team also fields 1 truck team full-time. Right involved with Todd Gilliland at Front Row Motorsports. There's a lot going on in that shop right now, and they're finding speed. These 2 teams they made sure the ones we talked about early, they tested this past Wednesday on a short track in North Carolina.
Mason Diaz is only running the ARCA Menards Series East season this year. In this race, his first start with the ARCA Menards Series in the 7th spot. That would match what he was able to do earlier this year with a very good run. But here at Toledo Speedway in the East race, he had some transmission problems, was running fairly decent in that race back in June.
Yeah, cost him a ton of points. And ultimately, this driver, I said, what have you been doing between all these races? He said, I've been doing late model stock car racing. He's won twice at Dominion, once at Hickory, leads the points in late models at Southern National Motorsports Park, where he actually wears about 17 different hats.
He does.
His family's involved in management there, as well as him driving to the point lead. The late model stocks are doing double weekends. There's 3 more of those left to come in that North Carolina racetrack based in Kendley, North Carolina.
Self is right behind Diaz, and then there's the 42 of Parker Ratzloff. Ratzloff running in the top 10 and 9th. Nick Sanchez in the 6th is behind him. Those 2 are ARCA Menards Series East competitors as well. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, points paying race today for both series with the ARCA Menards Series and the East Series.
Yeah, Ratzloff only has a 3-point edge over this number 6 car in those East standings. So as they run 42 ahead of the 6 right now, the 42 Ratzloff, the number 6 is Sanchez in his first year racing with Rev Racing in the ARCA Menards Series. Ran some late model stocks the last couple of years. He and Glenn Parker are doing a lot of work on this number 6 car. They got to go in the right direction. Steve Plattenberger as well as his crew chief. So not a lot of guys are helping on these cars. So he and his teammate Chase Cabry are doing a lot of hands-on driving and mechanical work in the shop between races as well.
Sam Mayer continues to pace this field. That General Tire onboard camera, we just saw him go around. Justin Carroll in the 91. Carroll, top 10 in the East standings, running 11th in this race. Unfortunately, now a lap down.
So Sam Mayer is going to negotiate traffic. That's what his main worry is. A 2.3 second lead now. And look at this. Haley's able to close on her teammate here. But Taylor Gray's still able to wrap the bottom in turns 3 and 4. Haley's going to have to do it off of turn 2. Right here, she's going to have to be maybe a diamond in the corner, a little bit higher on exit. Entry to turn 1 and dip down to the bottom of her teammate to get position here. We talked early on about the track map. Turn 2 to turn 3 is one big arc, so she'll really have to make a good run off the bottom of 2 to get position.
She's hungry to get by her teammate in that 17. You see those teeth just looking to plow through the field, and I'm sure she also knows that her rear view mirror is now filled with Michael Self. Self, after a lot of changes to that race car, really moving back through the field. Lined up 10th on the restart. Self up to 7th and right behind the 4 of Deegan in 6th. Little contact between the 17. You see Taylor Gray kind of point to the inside. Says, hey, if you want this spot, go to the inside, Haley.
Taylor's another driver who told me flat out, I like racing side by side, lap after lap. If it needs to be, I want to race side by side with somebody for a position. if they ever run on me, they better race me hard. I don't want to get banged into. I don't bang drivers. I don't hit drivers on the outside or inside of me. I don't exchange rubs. I want to race clean. So if he's saying if you want the inside next time, she's going to have to earn it, because if she's not next to him in turn number 3, he's going to take that line away again.
Under 10 to go, and this is exactly what Michael Self wanted to see. 2 drivers for position in front of him battling to slow them up enough to allow him to catch up. Let's go to Dave.
Listening to the team on the scanners, they're telling Michael to be patient, but if he sees an opening, go ahead and go for it. They also think that Hailie Deegan may be a little impatient, so to be very, very careful here because she wants to get a position. Either way, they plan on making sure they get that 25 car around these 2 and hopefully the next 5 laps.
They just went around the 06 of Tim Richmond, who runs 13. But right now, Taylor Gray, this is probably the worst we've seen him during the race. That car not to his liking late in the going with 5 to go.
Certainly not responding as it was in the early portion of the race. Whatever change they made just did not suit these young drivers. Drive off the corner. Haley's eating him up on that corner entry right here. And going in the corner, he really has to almost sail it in and pitch it a bit to get through the corner on the bottom.
Hailie, though, it's almost as if she tries to get that run right there and then just runs into the wall, which is that 17 car in front. It's almost like she needs to go up the racetrack a little bit and try to pitch the car down coming off the corner to get that run to get up underneath her teammate.
One good thing about coming back to a track for the 3rd time for Hailie, she kind of has it figured out. One bad thing is all the newness this year, all the new tracks she's had, she's able to willing to try and experiment with her spotter, Eric Holmes. She's in a position now that she may be too comfortable and not able to take that risk, even with lap traffic involved.
Speaking of risks, a little risk there almost by Michael Self. Thought about it, but backs off and just follows around. Now, this time, Sam Mayer coming to the white flag this time around. He has been just so good today at Toledo.
The drive off the corner has not stopped. He's been excellent on restarts. He's been excellent on gapping the field. As soon as he gets the lead, all they see is his taillights.
A big advantage by 3 seconds over Chandler Smith, running in second. Back to back to back. 3 races this year for Sam Mayer at Toledo Speedway in the ARCA Menards Series, and 3 victories from Marty Lindley and the crew. Michael Self will wind up not getting by Hailie Deegan. He's 7th. 4th place is Brent Holmes. 1 point separated those 2 in the championship battle, at least by my simple math. It means that Brent Holmes is the new point leader in the ARCA Menards Series.
Headed to a new track at Bristol Motor Speedway. That's where Sam Mayer won last year in the E-Series. He's going to try to win another race in 4 days' time. But right now it's time to celebrate for Sam Mayer at Toledo Speedway. Historically, I don't know if anyone's ever won 3 races in a row at the same racetrack in the same year ever in the ARCA Menards Series. We've had a lot of races in the early days. They run 2 or 3 or 4 times. Back in 1973, they ran 3 times here. But in the realm of it, in what we're doing right now, and how dominant this kid has been at this specific racetrack, it's amazing to see the talent coming through with Marty Lindley gaining confidence in this young man to ask what he needs and giving it to him.
I just had to look up my notes. Believe it or not, back in 1973, it happened.
It did.
Bruce Gould.
I know we ran more than 1 race.
Yeah. So, at least according to my notes there.
Bruce
How
Gould.
about that?
So Sam Mayer tied Bruce Gould
That's
for
right.
3 wins.
That's right.
Track in the same year.
That's what I have right here in front of me.
All right.
Sam Mayer going to climb out victorious today. Something he's done a time or 2 this year. Celebration time for Sam Mayer in the ARCA Menards Series. He has won 4 of the last 5 short track starts in ARCA. And today he gets it done for the 3rd time at Toledo Speedway in Ohio. Celebration time, Dave Reef.
Well, the pride of Wisconsin finds his way to victory lane once again here in Toledo. Are you making any plans to move to this place yet after that performance?
Well, we've been here 4 times this year, so it's starting to feel like a club race. But, man, I can't thank these GMS guys enough. They've given me fast race cars all 4 times we come here, and we won 75% of the time. So really can't complain about this place, but it's really special to have the Lim Family Foundation on, and that whole deal. It's awesome having all these foundations on board and getting so many of them in victory lane it's really special. And thanks to Chevrolet and Armor Guard as well for helping support me as well.
Talked to Marty Lindley during the first race break after running out early. You kind of got caught up to in the middle of that first portion and then ran away again. I asked Marty if there was any issues with the car, and he kind of gave me that weird look and says, no, he says, we're just kind of feeling ourselves out a little bit here. Was it really that easy? Did you have that much car?
Yeah, the amount of race car I had here was insane. It's definitely an understatement to say that this is the best car I've had this year, and just so proud of those guys for giving me a race car like that I can go out and dominate. It's definitely very special, and hopefully can continue to do it. I mean, we got Bristol coming up next week, and I love that place. I'm 100% last year, so hopefully can keep that going.
It's got to be the kind of car you dream about. Did you have any portions of that race where you actually had to break a sweat or get your breath up?
I just, at the first part of that last segment, I was just going hard, seeing what we had, and then I was told there were only 7 back, so I was like, I might as well keep going until they got about half a straightaway. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun, especially when you have a race car like that, and I'm definitely not going to complain about it for sure.
Starting to become a regular visit here to the ARCA Menards Series Victory Lane. How about it, Toledo? Nice to have some fans here today to celebrate Sam Mayer back at Victory Lane.
Crew Chief Marty Lindley told me 8 times he's won in this chassis of his 10 career ARCA Menards Series races, whether it be East, West, or here in the ARCA Menards Series. And that Lynn Family Foundation, Bob, they are with the LA Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn. They help individuals recognize their personal and professional lives, mentorship, scholarship, through experiences. They're doing a lot of great work with a lot of great people, and Sam gave a bunch of exposure today.
Taylor Gray with another top 5 run for that 15-year-old. Haley Deegan scores another good finish just outside the top 5 that she had last weekend in Missouri. Parker Ratzloff, regular in the ARCA Menards Series East in 8th. Mason Diaz, another regular on the East Series, as is Nick Sanchez, round out the top 10.
I really believe that Parker Ratzloff had a strong race. He got involved with Drew Dollar, but I think that might have set him back a bit. I think Parker Ratzloff might have challenged for the top 5 had this race gone the way he wanted without that incident with Drew Dollar.
A streak like no other for Sam Mayer so far. He's been pretty successful as of late in ARCA. 3 races in a single season for the ARCA Menards Series at Toledo Speedway, and we saw an interesting one with plenty of drama here today. Dominating performance by Sam Mayer, but a new point leader emerges after the 15th race of the year. Brent Holmes is the new ARCA Menards Series point leader by virtue of his 4th place run, Dave.
And Brent Holmes, have you ever had such a satisfying 4th place finish, knowing you at least took over the ARCA Menards Series points lead following this race?
Yeah, it's definitely a good feeling. Just want to thank the fans for coming out. It's been a while since we've seen you guys, and you know, we've definitely missed y'all, and it's been weird not seeing them at the races, but yeah, I mean, we've you know, there's some strong cars up front here. They're hard to beat, and we're right there knocking on the door of these short track races of getting a win, and just really proud of my team. They've been putting in a lot of long hours working on this thing and improving it, and we're not finishing these races in these spots without them.
21 was definitely tough today, but what kept you off of the podium?
Yeah, I mean, I think the start of the races kind of got us behind a little bit. We got too big of a gap there and restarts, and out of 2. So, you know, I really just need to improve on that, and we'll be right there. But you know, these guys are really consistent, and you know, these races are tough to win. You know, there's some good guys out here. So, you know, like I said, just can't thank everybody that supports me and my family, friends back home, and this team. You know, we've worked a long time to get to this point, and it's a really good feeling.
So what do you got to do now moving forward to embrace this pressure, embrace this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're just focused on getting wins. You know, I mean, keeping our nose clean and not getting any accidents, and you know, I think that's the mindset we need to have. And you know, when you win, everything else takes care of itself. So that's all we're focused on right now. We want more than one win this year, and that's what we're going to do.
Wasn't a battle, but he's leading the war so far, guys.
Brent Holmes, the new point leader of the ARCA Menards Series, with 5 races to go. Just 2 points separate Brent Holmes and Michael Self.
And the next 2 races this coming week, Thursday and Saturday, Bristol and Winchester. Neither driver has turned a lap there behind the wheel. Michael Self's been there to spot for Justin Haley. That's it. They're going to have to do a lot of work in a very short period of time. Brett's got to fill in his full-time class schedule as well at Auburn before he turns his attention to Thunder Valley on Thursday.
Michael Self survived today for a 7th place run. He's now standing by with Dave Reef.
Well, Michael, first let's focus a little bit on today's race a little bit. Couldn't quite get that Sinclair Toyota right where you wanted it, but still able to salvage a 7th place finish. Where does that sit in the overall how do I feel category?
It sucks. I mean, that's really frustrating because we were really good in practice. Thought we had a really good car. You know, we fired off really strong today. We tried something with a rear spring at the end of practice, and we kind of fooled ourselves a little bit, I think. It was really hot during practice today, and tire wear was a little more significant than it usually is at this place, and I think we kind of got off track thinking that spring was going to be good, and it just wasn't. I mean, it was a totally wrong direction, and then we started the race with that in there and just burned off the right rear. Just the car just didn't have any drive, and that's really critical here. You know, you can't be fast around this place if you don't have good drive off the corners because it does have such good grip. You want to be able to maximize that, and so once we got the spring changed, we were better. At the start of that second run, we were able to drive up inside the top 5, I think, and then just left side tires were kind of burnt up from that first run, and we just got a little bit out of balance. And then the last run, we were okay. We were running decent lap times, just too little too late. We lost too much track position at that point.
Points are what they are. You've been in this situation before, so what can you take from last year's title chase to keep everything moving in the right direction, keep the mindset in the positive?
That's tough. I mean, last year was a totally different situation than this, and fortunately, we had really good cars last year. We just struggled really bad this year. We struggled with balance as an entire team. I mean, it's not the guys, it's me, it's all of us. We've got to get better, and we have been. We've been making progress. Obviously, Chandler ran second tonight, so that's good for VMS. We just got to get that throughout the whole team. I mean, we've beat Brett 3 times this year. We shouldn't even be in the hunt for a championship. I'm giving that my opinion, but we're making progress with the cars. We got 5 races left. Some tracks that look like a lot of fun to me. We've just got to keep that momentum of getting the cars better, and we got to go put a whole race together. We got to go put the thing together from start to finish, and we can still fight for this.
Well, he's got the experience. We'll see how he handles it moving forward, and I'm definitely looking forward to the last 5. Thanks, Michael.
You can hear the emotion on both of those drivers' faces. Next 5 races is going to be awfully interesting in ARCA. Sam Mayer wins his 4th of the year in the ARCA Menards Series and his 3rd victory at Toledo Speedway in a single season. Chandler Smith, 3 runner-up finishes in the last 5 races. Dave Reef.
Well, and this is just one man's opinion, Chandler, but I know who had the second best car. What kept it from being the best one?
I think overall we just need to go back and work on it a little bit. It's just a massage on it. The 21 overall is a great team. That whole organization is really good, obviously. They're good truck racers and obviously good ARCA racers too. So we just need to go back, work on it, and play a little catch-up, honestly. Overall our number 20 JBL Toyota Camry today was really, really good, but I felt like it's obviously not as good as the 21 nor the 18. I mean, the 18 ran us down there, and I was just holding on for dear life. So, I mean, hats off. I mean, I appreciate him actually racing me clean, especially from last week that every race, a race car wanted to wreck me. So that was a lot of fun not being wrecked today, so that was great. But overall, it was a solid race. I mean, P2, that's fine. But I'd rather be P1, and we'll go back and work on it.
At what point during this 200-lap event did you feel like your car was the best?
The very start, and that's why we fell off like a rock at the end of it. It's just there's just a lot behind the scenes that we need to fix a little bit, I feel like, and that's why we fired off really good and then fell off like we did. So we'll go back and work on it and try to equalize everything out.
All right, we'll see you on down the road.
Thank you.
Chandler Smith, you could tell how hungry he is. He's used to winning here in the ARCA Menards Series.
In the last 7 races, this young driver, Sam Mayer, talking to his dad, Scott, has won 4 races in the last 7. So that frustration has been mounting. They've been working hard, but Sam Mayer has continued to show speed race after race, including that race at Daytona where he had a relief driver, and they both finished up to 3rd in that race. So it's pressure from this team has made the other teams work a lot harder.
Speaking of 3rd, Dave Reef standing by with our 3rd-place driver.
Well, Ty, it seemed like an interesting day. From the time the car came off the trailer, I expected the car to maybe qualify a little bit better, but it looked like it raced good, but we knew it had a vibration. And so it just didn't seem like it was the total package today. Am I accurate?
Yeah, I felt like we did a really good job, and we just weren't good enough there. But I can't thank my guys enough. I'm just a little frustrated from the mistakes I made, and we should have had second there. Just got really close to Chandler, so it was just a hard one, and I feel like I want to win so bad that it's hard to lose these deals. So it's just me getting better and learning and getting more experience, and hopefully we can move on to the next one, and hopefully next year we can come back here and win this one. We just didn't have to set up right today, and most of it was my fault. So it was 90% my fault, 10% car. So I'll definitely go back and work on myself, and I'm sorry to all my sponsors, Monster, Joe Racing. I can't thank them enough for all the support they give me. I just want to win really bad for you guys, and I just can't thank everybody enough.
There was a request in the first race break for a bottle of water, something to chew on. Are you feeling okay for the race?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. This is nothing. So I'll go home and go ride 20 miles on my bike right now. I got nothing else to do besides race and think about it. So I gotta get my mind off it. So I just want some crackers on my mid-race break here, since we sit in there for 5 minutes, and focus on getting around the 11 car Farmer Bob. He needs he just needs to hold the bottom. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but it'd be nice if you hold the bottom and not give us a little left front damage. So it's okay, but we'll just move on.
Pedal hard, man. Benefits of being young.
Ty Gibbs. He took it on his shoulders and said, I made a mistake. Instead of blaming the race car or something else, he took it on his shoulders, said he made some mistakes today. I say he's maturing as a driver for sure.
And for him not to rub and run into the 20 of Chandler Smith, that's a sign of respect as well. Ty needs to finish these races. He is not going to learn anything on the trailer. He said that from the outset. But he's only been in this series now his second season. So as much as we talk about how many races he's run and these 28 races that he's been in with Sam Mayer, they really are putting together a program for Ty to be a full-time paid race driver or a professional race driver at his tender age of 17. He's also looking ahead saying, I need to get myself in a position where I'm in different racing situations. I don't want to get in the back end of a guy if I don't have to.
And then there's Taylor Gray, fifth place run here at Toledo. And Dave, you're getting used to talking to Taylor Gray after these races.
I am. Taylor Gray coming home with another solid finish in fifth, but one man's observation, maybe it wasn't quite the Ford Performance car that we've seen you race before. What was it like behind the wheel?
We struggled a little bit, going different ways each segment of the race here today. First, we started a little tight and then got loose and then got tight again at the end of the race there. So, me and my DGR Crowsley guys fought hard all day and came home fifth.
The learning curve continues to go up. How do you grade yourself if you were to grade yourself so far in 2020? It's been an interesting year.
I don't know. You have to ask people around me. I don't really know. I don't really, I guess, grade myself for whatever. Just got to keep working every day and getting better.
Well, I know that if you ask around, they're going to say this kid's doing pretty darn good, keeping in mind he is just 15 years old, and Mom and Dad are right over here off to his left-hand side there, making sure he's saying all the right things, guys.
Unbelievable, 15 years old, and so much talent behind the wheel, and a good speaker as well. Listen, we leave Toledo here today, but we still have Bristol coming up on Thursday, Winchester on Saturday, the battle of the short tracks right now in the ARCA Menards series.
Throw in Memphis, which we've not been to before in the ARCA Menards series in years, and also we end at Kansas Speedway. There's a lot of variation, but survival, I think, will be the key here. And no doubt the 23 of Brent Holmes with this point lead, he's not going to be sitting there going, I'm leading the points, get out of my way. He'll be watching what Michael Self does from here on out, for sure.
Let's not forget, we're going back to the dirt. October 4th, Springfield, Illinois. That was just announced this week, and I know that's always a lot of fun.
And we saw a lot of points changing there at the dirt track. One slip up out of the groove, Sheldon Creed almost threw away a championship 2 years ago on the dirt track. So that could change a lot of dynamics when it comes to the overall points as the second last race of the year.
Are you thinking right now Brent Holmes has that mojo? He's got the momentum going into these final five?
By listening to what Michael Self said, he is still finding speed. Brent Holmes is happy to run fourth. He knows he has a top three car if he pushes the limit. I really believe the momentum is on Brent Holmes' side. Michael Self has to respond. Last year, Christian Eckes found that momentum to carry him through with top two finishes for the season. Self's got to finish podium every time to have a shot at this championship.
By the way, did you see the big W when Sam Mayer got out of the car? Wisconsin proud. Yeah. Jim is from Wisconsin, and I tell you what, a lot of great race car drivers have come from the state of Wisconsin. Sam Mayer, just another one of those in that long line of successful drivers to come from that state. Walking along with his dad, heading back to the pit area. What a day this one was for Sam Mayer. He checked out throughout the entire day's race. So for Jim Trado, Dave Reeve, and everybody at Lucas Oil Production Studios, I'm Bob Dillner saying thanks for watching and congratulations to Sam Mayer on yet another victory.